Hi there and welcome to Capital View. Yes, this week a controversy has been raging around the External Affairs Minister Ms. Sushma Swaraj and around the Rajasthan Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje Scindia about their alleged links with former IPL boss Lalit Modi. The question is, are these allegations enough to significantly damage the image of the Narendra Modi government and taint this government? Or is this entirely a manufactured controversy, as the government says that it is? Joining me, Shaina NC of the BJP, from the Congress, Rajeev Gowda, and Sanjay Hegde, Supreme Court lawyer. Thanks everyone very much for being here. Shaina NC, let's start with Vasundhara Raje Scindia, because in a sense the allegations against her are perhaps a little graver than the allegations around Sushma Swaraj. Now, in a statement that Vasundhara Raje made while supporting the immigration application of Lalit Modi, she says, I make this statement in support of any immigration application that Lalit Modi makes, but do so in strict condition that my assistance will not become known to the Indian authorities. Now, you are a party of nationalists, of Deshbhakts. Here is a constitutional functionary of the BJP. She was the leader of the opposition in the Rajasthan Assembly at this point, asking a foreign government not to tell her own government about what she's doing. Isn't this anti-national?
And you are a senior journalist, Sagarika, so please get to the facts of the case. A secret document which is not signed by her. A secret document that you are flashing on television, but what is the content? You have Lalit Modi who speaks to his lawyers. They create a document which is not even signed by her. Now, anybody who understands the law knows that if there is not the consent of two parties, how can it be proven that she is testimony to this statement that is created by Lalit Modi's lawyers for his interest? As far as my party, I can only take a stand that our party will always stand with leadership if they are in the right, because we are a disciplined cadre and yes, we are nationalistic.
Rajeev Gowda of the Congress, it's an unsigned document and Vasundhara Raje has for the moment denied all knowledge of it.
Sagarika, if you look at Lalit Modi's lawyers and the statements that they have released, it turns out that in their letters to the ministry in the UK, they have referred to people who have recommended his case, Lalit Modi's case, and Vasundhara Raje is listed there. So there is a reasonable suspicion that that letter that is being brandished now actually is authentic. And if it is authentic, then it is clear that Mrs. Vasundhara Raje Scindia did not want this information revealed. Now, essentially, what is happening right now is a massive cover-up. Whether it's Vasundhara Raje, whether it's Sushma Swaraj, you have a disciplined party coming together to rally around its leaders who have been caught essentially trying to help a fugitive from justice, a person who is accused of money laundering, who is accused of violating FEMA, who is an economic offender of a massive sort, and they're trying to shield him.
These are baseless allegations. Who suggests that somebody cannot have a friendship or a relationship with someone if somebody has done so? In Sushma Swaraj's case, constantly to raise questions, her daughter was a lawyer in a firm where Lalit Modi was a client. And you constantly suggest that we are rallying together. Of course we will rally together because there is no fuel to this fire that has been created fictitiously.
It's an unsigned document. Can you just respond to that? Is an unsigned document therefore a true copy or is it an invalid document?
See, we are not yet in court. In court, it would have to be a signed document. But the very fact that lawyers have created a document and there are further documents which reference this document lends us to believe that in all probability there is a signed document which has been delivered,
part of the court record,
which has been delivered to the British authorities and on the basis of which the British authorities may have taken action.
Right.
The question, it also is possible, sometimes I know how these press conferences are run, that you deliberately give out only one part of the document, have somebody on record denying, and then later it comes out. So the facts are at large out there. What is so far
But it's
evident.
significant.
What is evident
it's
is
significant
that
that she's not saying she didn't sign any document. She's not
Yes,
saying that I got the document, I didn't sign it. She only saying I don't know what
It does
document
remind me
it
of
is.
President Clinton's famous one, I smoked but didn't inhale.
Right. I smoked, but I didn't inhale. Let's now come to the Sushma Swaraj question. Shaina NC, you heard Lalit Modi say in an interview to a news channel that I've known the Swarajes for over 30 years. Swaraj Kaushal has been my counsel for 20 years. He has given me pro bono services, that is, he's given me free services. Now, in that context, Ms. Sushma Swaraj, while she was External Affairs Minister, overturns government policy, unilaterally overturns government policy in order to let him travel. Now, is this not a serious case of conflict of interest on the part of the External Affairs Minister?
I think our party president has made it amply clear where he says that Sushma Swaraj did not act out of the purview of law. It was well within her jurisdiction, and Rajnath Singh too has said how she did whatever she did on humanitarian grounds. I think what Arun Jaitley said is even more crucial, where he says that this is a case where you have to view the intent, and the finance ministry is not giving Lalit Modi a clean chit or absolving him of some charges which are there with the enforcement directorate and the economic offences wing. If they are proven that he is guilty, he will be punished, but if he is not, then he will be free. I think that the question here is to suggest that there's some kind of cozy comfort zone between BJP and Lalit Modi. There isn't.
She overturned government policy. Chidambaram had a certain policy which he communicated to the Chancellor of the Exchequer, George Osborne, in 2013, by which he said it would affect bilateral relations between India and the United Kingdom if Lalit Modi was out to travel. She overturns this policy on her own, flying solo, unilaterally. She doesn't take anyone else into consideration, not the finance minister, not the ED, not the Babus, nobody. Isn't this a serious lapse of judgment?
No, but on what account? And that too for a cancer patient who happens to be a woman. If she, on humanitarian grounds, did it for an Indian national, which she did, and if you read her series of tweets, Sagarika, it says that nowhere is she talking about pressurizing British authorities to help Lalit Modi. She's only presenting a case that, taking all these facts into consideration, depending on what is your jurisdiction, please do decide vis-a-vis this case. I don't think this is anything out of the ordinary, or to
Let me bring in Rajeev Gowda.
That extra mile.
Let me bring in Rajeev Gowda. Rajeev Gowda, where's the quid pro quo? It could be argued that Sushma Swaraj didn't get any benefit. Where's the benefit for Sushma Swaraj? Why should she resign?
When she was leader of the opposition, she has asked Lalit Modi for help in getting a seat for her nephew or something like that. There has been some favor. Whether she now claims that he got in on merit or not, the point is that the request was made. Lalit Modi has communicated that to Keith Vaz. So when you make a request, you are in debt to a person. And then when you come to power, when you come into office, you essentially reverse government policy. You don't consult anybody else. You undermine the government's, the finance ministry's, enforcement directorate's case against a fugitive. You reverse everything because you have some kind of a relationship with him, and he gives you an argument about he gives you a request about humanitarian grounds, when everything that he has done after that and publicly portrayed on his Instagram account demonstrates that he was basically using this as an opportunity to party everywhere.
Rajeev Gowda, respond to the other charge that Mr. Lalit Modi has made in the interview, that he was also helped by Rajiv Shukla, Praful Patel and Mr. Sharad Pawar. Mr. Praful Patel and Sharad Pawar and UPA allies, Mr. Rajiv Shukla, member of the Congress party.
And how did he reach London in the first
place? Yes, and they have made statements. Rajiv Shukla has said for the last 3 years he has had no contact with Lalit Modi. Sharad Pawar has said that he was in touch with Modi, asking him to come and surrender before the court. So those are the statements that those leaders have made. The point here is we are talking about Sushma Swaraj, a sitting external affairs minister who has had a relationship with an absconder from justice, a fugitive from justice who has violated
money. But what did your government do? What did your government do? Lalit Modi left in 2010. Why didn't you extradite him?
No. That's what we have approached the government of the UK, and they have basically said that there are legal complications towards when it comes to extraditing him. So then we said that if you let him go, we will be really upset as a nation, right? I mean, that is the kind of strong language that was used by the finance minister in his correspondence with the Chancellor of the Exchequer. So that is the magnitude and seriousness of the issue, which has now been overturned because of family relationship. There is no moral ground on which this minister can continue in office.
There is no moral ground that this minister can continue. Do you believe that there is ground for Sushma Swaraj and Vasundhara Raje to resign? And second of all, is humanitarianism, the humanitarian consideration, does it not stand vis-a-vis the charge of gross impropriety that is there against Ms. Sushma Swaraj? Is gross impropriety cancelled by the humanitarian grounds?
See, Mrs. Swaraj has been a good humanitarian from time to time, with carpenters from Ludhiana, with some lady from Yemen who was caught in the bombing. She got her a US. She has been known to act on humanitarian considerations. But this one case is where humanitarianism was used as a cloak. Because Lalit Modi said, look, if you tell the UK that please, that we have no objection to you giving Modi a travel document, then they will give it. And there, without recording, without taking anybody else into the loop, without checking out with the finance ministry, she flew solo, and it was on her word that the UK gave that travel document. Without her word, the UK would not have given it. Now that is not necessarily humanitarianism, and it possibly could have been,
and
but
this was
for
all
the fact,
happening at the time when actually her government was fighting against Lalit
absolutely,
Modi
not
in
only
the
her
Delhi
government,
High Court.
not only
In
her
the Delhi
government,
High
her
Court.
department.
Her department.
Her department,
Right.
because it was the Foreign Affairs,
Right.
the External Affairs Ministry, which controls passports, which had denied the
Which
passport.
was fighting against Lalit Modi
which
in the
had
Delhi
cancelled
High
the
Court.
passport, which had won before
Right.
the single judge, and then subsequently lost before the division bench,
Right.
which has not yet been appealed.
And the case in which her own daughter was appearing for Lalit
Absolutely,
Modi.
absolutely.
So do you believe that this makes a fit case for resignation, both of Sushma Swaraj and of Vasundhara Raje?
See, that is a political call for the Prime Minister
Right.
to take. After all, he has to define what kind of government he wants to run. Previously, he has held, and his party has held, the UPA and other parties at the state level to very high moral grounds.
Right.
Now, what was sauce for the goose, is it sauce for the gander?
Shaina NC, at the drop of a hat, you used to call for the resignation of UPA ministers. Shashi Tharoor resigned even though there was no FIR against him. Do you accept that in this kind of situation where the External Affairs Minister is granting relief to someone who in a court of law is being defended by her own daughter at the same time? At the same time that her daughter is defending with Modi, she is granting him relief. This is serious conflict of interest and serious lapse.
Where the daughter works. Does that, by that logic, Sagarika, if you have a doctor at home who is treating patients, does that mean there's a quid pro quo? Or a lawyer who has clients from varied backgrounds, does that mean it's a quid pro quo? Please, let's get real. Facts need to be substantiated. On one aspect, you say that yes, Sushma Swaraj has been taking a humanitarian view vis-a-vis Yemen, Ludhiana, etc. And here you have a case of an Indian national who is suffering from cancer, and she takes a stand which is not even pressurizing the British government, and we have arrived at a entire posturing of saying that there's quid pro quo. I want to ask you one question. You all talked about her nephew. Please tell me, Sagarika, how many children get admission in the United Kingdoms with influence? And has there been any exchange of money?
Many, but there are mails.
Absolutely
but there
not.
are mails.
There
you see, the thing is, there's an email.
Has got in
there's an
on
email
merit.
trail. There's an email trail.
The email trail can be fictitious. Please, if Lalit Modi wants to announce to the whole world that please look after this child, and Sushma Swaraj has said so, it's a story like it is a script of a movie.
She has confirmed the email, and she in her tweet refers to her nephew getting the...
suggest and even ask for somebody's resignation. There is no exchange of any kind of favor or money.
As Foreign Minister, when your own daughter is challenging the decision of your ministry in court and you are defending it, then to give a side window through which a certain facility is offered to the person who's challenging the ministry's decision, that is not on. You either
It is a
recuse
serious
yourself totally.
lapse.
You
A
have
very, very serious lapse of
Absolutely.
judgment. Let's take a short break at this point. This is a very, very serious crisis. A big crisis has hit the Modi government, shattering, many would say, its claim to be a government that upholds morality and probity and is against crony capitalism and crony politics. Let's take a short break and come back and ask, why is the Prime Minister silent? That's after the break. Welcome back to Capital View. Yes, a full-blown crisis has hit the Modi government. Sushma Swaraj, External Affairs Minister, Vasundhara Raje, BJP Chief Minister of Rajasthan, both under fire for their links with Lalit Modi, former IPL boss. We're asking, is this seriously going to damage the image of the Modi government? Shaina NC, why is the Prime Minister not speaking?
The Prime Minister of this country has been voted in to work and to perform on good governance. If he starts responding to every single debate, some of which are fictitious, some are conspiracy theories and some are unsubstantiated, I don't think he'd have that kind of energy left to focus on what he's been voted for. So I think it's the prerogative of the party to give a stand, which we have made amply clear, that we will stand by our leadership. We have done nothing wrong. If people feel otherwise, then they need to prove it, and they need to prove it with evidence, rather than just casting aspersions. And the same Congress party that is talking this different tune with you, I want to ask them a single question, that please tell me, how did Lalit Modi reach London in the first place? It wasn't our government. Who gave him the permission to flee from India and abscond? You call him all kinds of names. I think the basic question here is, how did he flee from Indian soil?
Okay, let me put that to Mr. Rajeev Gowda. Mr. Rajeev Gowda, first of all, scams have hit your government and your Prime Minister did not speak. So how can you now stand up and say Prime Minister should speak when your Prime Minister never spoke? That's point number one. Second of all, who let Lalit Modi get away? You never had any extradition proceedings against him. And the fact is that Congress is not blameless in any of this.
The basic point is that if you look at when he left before the cases were initiated. Essentially, he had already flown the coop before the cases were initiated.
But no charges against him have been proved. At this moment, no charges against him have been proved.
1 second. To get him to come back and testify, we essentially had to impound his passport. That's exactly what happened, right? So if you say, oh, the government let him go, the government didn't let him go. He had already gone before the cases were initiated. Then when we wanted to get him back and he was not coming to testify before economic offences wings, he essentially was, we cancelled his passport. If you say we didn't do enough, essentially we gave a strong warning to the UK government saying, do not let this guy out. We would consider that a breach of our own relationship. We conveyed it in that level of seriousness.
The fact is,
so there are no
the fact is you've not been able to
to
prove
say
anything.
This happened during our time.
You've not at the moment been able to prove any
in
charges.
connivance with this person accused of all kinds of charges. Basically, Narendra Modi has no face here because he kept talking about bringing back money. Instead, his ministers, his chief ministers, his entire party leadership now is running to the rescue of someone who is accused of money laundering, who has violated FEMA, who has basically...
Okay, let me just get in a legal perspective here. Now, this whole question of impropriety. What is impropriety? Before we address that issue, I want you to address it. I will also come to a question which is not actually impropriety, which is a pretty open and shut case, that when Dushyant Singh's firm was set up, Dushyant Singh being the son of Vasundhara Raje Scindia, the share was priced at ₹10. Lalit Modi bought a stake in the firm. He paid 1 lakh for each share. So this is almost like a gift that he made to Dushyant Singh, the son of Vasundhara Raje. So this is a kind of an open and shut case here. It's not just impropriety. This is, we're looking at a financial transaction. But I want you to look at this whole issue of impropriety. Now, it's difficult to actually prove a money trail. It's difficult to prove who took any financial favors, except perhaps in this Dushyant Singh case. But there is an issue of impropriety. There's an issue of lapse of judgment. There's an issue of a wrong call. So,
absolutely. See, there are several parts of it. It is not necessary that you only be proven to be financially corrupt. there are certain decisions which are so horrendously wrong that the natural corollary to that is
because
a resignation.
As Shaina saying, where's the money trail? As Shaina saying, where's the money trail?
No, no, no. See, here there is definitely a money trail, at least to the daughter, in the form of professional payments, maybe. There is some money. Forget that.
Lalit Modi would have retained her as part of his team.
Let me just put propriety in perspective for you. There was a British Chancellor of the Exchequer who was going in with the budget papers. He ran into a journalist who was smoking. He looked at him, smiled, and said, okay, enjoy your smoke. The journalist took that hint. He knew that taxes were going up on cigarettes.
Right.
He scooped the story. The Chancellor of the Exchequer had to resign.
Right. They had to resign just for saying enjoy your smoke.
Just for saying enjoy your smoke. We had Lal Bahadur Shastri in our own country who resigned. Now the question is, you may with the highest of motives do something so horrendously wrong. Here was a case where you, let's concede the highest of motives, humanitarian, a woman dying, everything. You wanted the man to be by the lady's bedside. Then did you, you could have very well said, I as foreign minister am going to give him a temporary document.
A short duration visa.
For a short duration travel document, provided that he comes back to India after that crisis. That would have been humanitarian, that would have been applauded. There was no such decision. There was no recording even of a decision to tell the British authorities to grant a travel document of their own, and that travel document was unlimited. If Lalit Modi had not won his case 4 weeks later from the Delhi High Court,
right, she would have been in conflict
that document would still have been the basis on which Modi would have travelled the world. So there's one thing, I'm not a political man.
So the minister would have been in conflict with actually the court. If the court had not handed the passport back,
if the court had not struck down that decision,
that
then the ministry would have won.
Ministry would have won.
But
the minister would have lost.
In the meanwhile, the minister would have given him an out.
The External Affairs Ministry was at loggerheads with the External Affairs Minister because of a personal relationship between the External Affairs Minister and Lalit Modi. How intriguing and Byzantine is this? Where at the end of the program, I'm going to ask Shaina NC, are you going to brazen it out as a party? Are you going to say there's nothing wrong, nothing will happen, we're going to stand behind Sushma Swaraj and Vasundhara Raje, that's it, we're going to dig in our heels? Is that the policy now?
Anybody who knows Mr. Modi knows that he will not tolerate any kind of impropriety or corruption. If there is a question in doubt, of course, it's an area of grey. If there are multiple questions in doubt, it's even more uncertain that there is any likelihood of any substantiated allegation. If there is an allegation, clearly our party will look into it. But just coming to your question where you talked about, quid pro quos vis-a-vis Vasundhara Raje, there's lots that's been said about this MOU as well. This MOU has been signed by one of the leading hospitals, and in healthcare, if one does choose to bring it to the home state, what is wrong in that?
But Shaina, Lalit Modi bought shares worth 10 rupees for 1 lakh.
You talked about that transaction.
In Dushyant Singh's company.
So
shares of 10 rupees were bought by him for 1 lakh.
You need to ask Lalit Modi this question, that why did he give this kind of money, or did he expect that it would go up even further? These are questions that he needs to answer, not the BJP.
Okay, the BJP will not answer. The BJP is standing for the moment solidly behind Sushma Swaraj and Vasundhara Raje. Rajeev Gowda, what is your policy? Are you going to clamour for resignation? Are you going to be out on the streets? Are you going to hold up parliament? What are you going to do? Are you going to say resign or bust? We're not going to let this government function unless these two women resign.
Well, we're expecting their resignations. In Sushma Swaraj's case, everyone's treating her with kid gloves. She is an experienced top leader with 40 years of political experience. She should have the judgment to know when she is sabotaging the government's own efforts and when she is not. And let me tell you, from Karnataka, Sushma Swaraj's patronage of the Reddy brothers is what enmeshed the BJP in Karnataka in a huge morass of corruption. So there's we don't see Sushma Swaraj as someone with a halo. She is certainly someone who is very, very capable of being neck deep in all kinds of corrupt dealings with people like Lalit Modi.
Okay,
I do not see us stopping anywhere.
Right, so you're going to press on with your demands of resign, or you're not going to be satisfied. Is this a test case of propriety, really, because when it's in the grey area, when charges are not substantially proven, then does this case need to become a test case of when a public functionary needs to step down?
Well, if I can use a one-liner, brand Modi has to decide whether it has to become brand Lalit Modi.
Right. And answer the question we're posing on the show. Do you think the image of this government has taken a hit?
I've told you that brand Modi might soon become brand Lalit Modi. That is the danger.
Right. That is the big danger. Will brand Modi, brand Narendra Modi become brand Lalit Modi? If that happens, then it's a serious taint on this government and a serious damage has been done to all its claims of being for morality and for public uprightness in public life. Well, that's it on Capital Views. Thank you very much to all my guests for joining me. That's it on this episode, looking at whether the Narendra Modi government has been severely tainted by the allegations against Sushma Swaraj and Vasundhara Raje Scindia. We're back next week. Join us again.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.